Welcome to a yin class recording and meditation. This class is all about relieving tension, and it works on opening the whole of the back, the sides of the back, a few twisting moves, and lower back, upper back, shoulders. We also finish with a hum sa mantra meditation. I really hope you enjoy this class. A cushion might be handy, but you really don't need much. It's a yin class, so we will be holding the poses for 4.5 to 5 minutes. So make sure you are just going at your kind of therapeutic edge. Don't start off that beginning of the pose too deep into it. You've always got time to kind of stretch while we're hanging out there. Enjoy. Cheers. So you come to a nice comfy seated position. Doesn't have to be cross-legged. You can use a cushion or a block to lift the hips up if that's more accessible for you today. We're going to do a breathing practice to begin. We're going to do a really simple breathing practice. We're actually going to incorporate a little bit of self-massage just to really relieve some tension before we get started, and also to bring some movement into our breathing as well. So just begin by placing the hands in the lap. Place your more active hand in your less active hand. Just rest them down there in your lap and start to just connect in with your natural breathing. So you can let the eyes gently close, or if you prefer, you can gaze past the tip of the nose. And try not to take any effect on your breath at this stage, but just be an objective witness to how it feels today. So has it got any jagged edges? Is it quick and fast, or smooth and steady? Just see how it reflects where you're at. And if it feels okay to do so now, let the lips gently close and begin to breathe just through your nose. Feel the air flowing through the nostrils, down the throat, into your lungs. You might feel it flowing out of the nostril, maybe a warm tickling sensation on the top lip. And we're going to take a few rounds of really simple, same and equal breath. So to begin, let's inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Same again, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. We're going to lengthen for 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Continue like this. Maintain the count. Keep your inhales and your exhales the same length, that same rhythmic quality, with a little pause between every inhale and every exhale. I'm going to leave you for a few more rounds of breath. If you feel that there's space to lengthen the count, go ahead. There's no race, there's no competition, there's no points for a longer breath. Just create the space that you want to. Now, whilst you maintain this slow, steady breath, we're going to relieve some tension by taking some self-massage movements to our face and head. You can listen to my voice, or if you feel you need to, you can open the eyes and softly gaze at your monitor to follow my movements. It's up to you. On your next inhale, take your fingertips to the very base of your neck, the very top of your shoulders. Apply a little pressure and start to make circular massaging motions to the muscles either side of your vertebrae. Keep that counting in your mind. On your next inhale, move the hands up to the middle of the neck, either side of the spine. Keep those gentle, circular motion. Feel that you are moving the tissue, just easing up any knots, any tension in that middle neck. Inhale, take those fingers to the very base of your skull, where the skull meets the neck. You might find that little fingers are kind of on the outer edge of the skull, where the neck comes to the base of the skull. Now take peace fingers on each hand, and on your next inhale, take them to the jaw joint just below the ears. So just below and behind the ears, the very top of the joint of your jaw. Go careful here. Just take those little movements. Check back in with your breathing at this point. On your next inhale, just gently pinch your earlobes and massage your earlobes between your thumb and index finger. You can almost move the ears slightly, like you're lifting the skin from that skull. You can move finger and thumb up the outer edge of each ear, giving a nice gentle therapeutic pinch to the cartilage of your ears. Now take those peace fingers again and place them on the temples of your head. So that's the outer edges of your face, just either side of your eye. And take those little circular motions. Return to your breathing where you massage your temples. Feel almost as if you're breathing into those temples and breathing out any kind of headaches or tension in the face, any pressure that's built up from staring at a screen. Just feel that you're breathing it out, you're massaging to unlock it. And move those fingers along the eye sockets, so the top of the cheekbones, making your way to the bridge of the nose. Just working on any tension in the face. And the final motion we're going to take today is a little scalp massage. So place your fingertips on your scalp as if you're going to rub in your shampoo, lather up your shampoo. Start to take those massage movements. Now, rather than scrubbing the scalp, imagine that you're almost trying to lift the skin, squeeze the head and lift the skin away from the scalp. You can move your hands around to get to different bits. If you find a bit that feels good, just work there. And when you feel that you've had enough, you can place your hands back into your lap. Return to your count again. Notice if your breathing has just naturally lengthened out by taking the time to give yourself a little self-care. When you're ready, you can tuck the chin, blink the eyes open. We're going to come into our first yin asana today, and we're actually going to take a standing posture. I'm going to come into ragdoll, which is just a real gentle, easy forward fold. So come to standing in your own time. Take the feet hip width apart and take the softest of bends, so you can really just do what you need to do to make sure those legs feel nice and comfy. We're going to fold forward and we're just going to come to wherever we come to and let our arms hang like they're dangling down. Going to release the full weight of the head as well, so that's dangling. If this feels like it's a lot of work for you, you could always take some cushions or some blocks and stack it up so that you've got something to lean on and take the weight out of those legs. You can even use your sofa if you feel that you need more support. I'm going to let gravity start our class today. We're really lengthening out that spine slowly and softly. So you can almost visualise how the back is lengthening and we're creating space
between all those little sections in the back. We're holding our yin postures today for 4 to 5 minutes. So make sure you take those options that allow you to sustain the pose for that time. Should be able to feel the real base in the lower back lengthening out now. We're going to come out of this pose very slowly, and we're actually going to make our way to the ground. So keep the chin tucked in. Try not to take your head up too quickly. We want to avoid a head rush here. So if you're able to come down to the ground with your head still tucked down, just very steadily take your bum to the mat. Beautiful. Our next posture is going to be caterpillar pose in yin, Parsvatanasana in traditional yoga. So legs straight out in front, feet touching. Lots of options here to make it more comfy. So first option is you can sit on your block. That's going to lift your hips up. Another option is to take a rolled up towel or blanket and put it under the knees just to keep that nice soft bend. We want to be supported in these yin poses, so either you can just tuck the chin in and just rest the hands down by the sides of the legs, or if you like to get really snuggly and draw your senses inwards, grab a big cushion, something that you can kind of rest your chest or your chin on, stack it up as high as you need and just get settled into the pose. You're going to feel it in the lower back and also again in the hamstrings, so we're building on the space that we made in that first posture in our ragdoll. Okay. So in yin yoga, we actually allow a little curl to the spine, a bit of rounding of the back. So it's absolutely fine if you're curling slightly to get your head or your chin to your support. Release the feet, they don't need to be flexed. Release any tension in the quads. Relinquish. Just let the pose do the work. let your exhalations guide you. As you release the air, sense any opportunity to soften, deepen, draw further inwards. Very gently now, place your hands either side of your body, walk them back so they're close to your hips, push yourself back up into a seated position. Take your props to one side and bring yourself down onto the mat so that the full length of the back is resting on the ground. We're going to come into a supported bridge pose. So we want our feet to be close enough to the bum that we can kind of tickle the backs of our heels with our middle fingers. We're going to tuck the chin in. Feet are hip width apart. And we're going to take our props. So you might need to just disturb yourself for a moment. If you're just working with cushions and things, we're going to lift our hips and support our lower back with our props. So we want it kind of underneath our lower back just before the glute muscles. If this feels too easy for you, you've got a couple of options. Option one is that instead of using a prop, you can ground your elbows into the mat and use your thumbs to support you. Now this is quite strong work for some people, so it just depends on how you're feeling tonight. If you're lucky enough to be practicing with a block, then you've got some different options in terms of the height. And so you can play around with your block to get the bend in the back that gives you your therapeutic edge for the 4-minute hold. You can always kind of roll a few towels up, stuff like that. So I'll give you a minute, just make sure everyone's where they need to be to get the height they want. Excellent. So feel free to take any adjustment you need just to get that prop precisely where it should be. So we don't want to feel any pinching sensations. We don't want any tingling sensations. So if you do discover any of those during this pose, just ease off. Maybe lower the prop. You can allow the backs of the hands just to rest on the mat. Feel the fingers gently curling in towards the palms of the hands. Take your attention down to your glute muscles. Are you clenching your glute muscles in this pose? We actually carry a lot of tension and stress there as well, so just release them now. Soften them. If you're using a block today and you feel like you've made a little bit of space in that lower back, I invite you to consider, just consider, walking the feet slightly further away from the body. This is going to help you open up those hip flexors and add a little bit more flexation to that lower back. So with every back bend, there is also an opening of the front of the body. If you've taken the legs out, step them back in towards the body. And now everybody just lift the hips slightly, just so you can slide that prop out to one side. And really slowly take it back down to the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae, just uncurling. Hips and bum is last. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Just give yourself a little rock from side to side. Just a nice little massage of that lower back. And roll over onto one side. Bring yourself up and over. Our next pose is going to be coming onto our bellies for seal pose. So options again with your props is that we're going to be lying down, so we're going to have the full length of the fronts of our legs out behind us. We're going to release the tops of the feet down to the mat. We're going to take our hands out in front of us, palms will press into the mat. Our head will rise, keep the chin level here, so we're not looking up this time, we're just looking straight ahead. And you can use your prop under your belly to support you a little bit. So play around with it to see what feels good today. Have a real sort of microscopic attention on your lower back to really check in and see how it's feeling before you get settled. Remember that 55 to 60% of your full range of motion for yin. Shoulders are backing down away from the ears. Release any tension in the glutes again. Release any hold you have over your quad muscles. You can let the feet flop out to either side of the mat. If it's too much being on the palms, forearms are always an option for Sphinx.
look at that slow, steady breathing that you've cultivated so far. On every exhalation, release anything you're hanging on to in the lower back. Feel your pelvis sinking in towards the ground. Feel your collarbones broadening and opening. Very gently now, use the support of your arms to lower yourself back down onto the mat. You might need to shift onto one side and take your props out of the way. Just release the body all the way down. Make a little pillow with your hands and take whichever cheek you fancy down to the mat. Let those feet flop out to the side. Just feel that you've unknotted a few knots that might have been residing there in that lower back. And when you're ready, tuck your toes under, place the palms underneath the shoulders, press them into the mat. We're going to come into a twisted heart melting pose. So in traditional yoga, this is like puppy pose. So knees are directly under the hips, hip width apart. Tops of the feet released to the mat. You can walk the hands away from the body. We're going to pick up our right hand and thread it under our left arm. So we're sliding the back of right hand along the ground. Now, if you're deep in this pose, your head's just going to come straight down to the mat. Your hips are going to be stacked over your knees, no problem. If we haven't got the flexibility, then what we can do is we can place our prop and just rest our head on it. And again, there's the option to stack as high as you need to. Yes, so I was about to say, if this pose is too much for you because of pressure on the knees, then you can take a shoulder stretch instead.
We're working into our middle and upper back here. So for ladies, this is kind of like our bra strap area. For guys, it's kind of the very back of the body, so opposite of your pecs. The more you slide that hand that's on the ground away from you and spin the chest open, the more you're going to feel this really kind of peeling the shoulder blades apart. When you're ready, you can return back to our child's pose. You can walk the hands in for a moment and come up to sitting on your heels. Just take whatever movements you need to before we do the other side. And when you feel ready, you can walk the hands back out in front of us. Take our hips so that they're stacking over the knees. And we're going to thread left hand underneath right. The back of the hand is on the mat. Left cheek is resting on our prop or the ground. Right arm remains active. If you're taking a shoulder stretch instead, just swap to the other side. And in fact, if you are taking the shoulder stretch option instead, a good way to replicate the revolved heart melting pose is to actually allow the shoulders to turn in the direction that your outstretched hand is pointing. And then you're going to get that gentle twisting action across those back muscles as well. Might be just a few centimetres. very gently now, come back to centre. Walk the hands towards the body. We're going to come back down onto our mat. We're going to lie all the way back down. And we're going to come into a happy baby pose. But because this is yin, we're going to be here for a while. There's some options. So if you are happy hanging out in full happy baby pose, with the feet stacked over the knees, and you're content that the full length of the spine is going to stay on the mat whilst you draw those feet towards you, then please go ahead. If that is too much for you, allow the feet to flop out, take hands to the backs of the thighs and just work there. What we're trying to do is just create some space in those joints where the hips meet the lower back. There's some very complicated anatomical mechanisms going on down there. I'm going to pay them a bit of attention in this pose. If you've got backs of the hands on the backs of the thighs, you're still welcome to float those feet up as much as feels good for you to get that therapeutic edge. You can grasp a hold of the calves if hanging onto the feet is too much. It's really just personal preference and exploration. On every exhale, feel like the whole length of your back is melting into the ground. And as those shoulders soften and ground down, those hips open up. Really sense that every exhalation is just releasing any of those little niggly, tight, tense areas in the lower back and where the back meets the hip joints. So down into the coccyx, the pelvis, the whole sacral area. On your next exhalation, allow those feet to come back down to the mat. And you can just take your knees in and let them rest on each other. Maybe take feet out slightly wider than the mat. And just be here for a couple of breaths, just to neutralise the back before we come into our next yin pose. So we're staying on the ground. We're going to take our legs out straight. As before, there's an option, if this is too much on the lower back, to have your legs straight, is to put some support underneath the knees. So a rolled up blanket can be good. You're going to keep left leg grounding into the floor. And you're going to cross right leg over it, so crossing at the ankles. So right ankle is resting on top of left. You're going to reach left arm up, and you're going to reach right arm up and over, so the back of right hand is resting in the palm of the left. So this is Bananasana. So we're essentially trying to make our body into that banana curve. So I invite you now to play around with this pose because it's a little bit unusual. We want a really good side stretch. So the right side of our body is going to get a really nice long stretch. So you can kind of shift those feet over to the left slightly and maybe reach those arms over to the left a bit more. If you need to put some sort of support underneath your hands to deepen the if you haven't got the flexibility in the shoulders to take back to the hands to the floor, you can rest them on something. Just make sure you can feel a really nice deep stretch in the right hand side of the body, but that you're not clenching anything. Everything is supported by the ground or your props. So this is a real full body stretch. So from the tiny little pinky toe on that right foot, all the way up the outer edge of the leg, through the waist, back, maybe those lat muscles just below the shoulder, all the way through the armpit, the elbow, right into that little pinky finger. Feel that stretch, feel the tension releasing. I'm going to reverse this pose and come into the other side. So you just take the arms back down by the sides of the body, just give them a little rest. Gently walk the feet back into centre. You might want to take a few little hip rocks from side to side. And when you're ready, cross that left leg over right, crossing at the ankles. Move any props that you need to. So if you need to rest the backs of the hands on something rather than the ground, bring the ground closer to you. Place the back of right hand on your prop or the floor. Rest left hand in the palm of the right, reaching over to the right hand side. Shuffle those feet across. Create that banana curve with your body. This is the last asana, posture we're going to do this evening. So I invite you now to connect again with that slow, steady breath and really feel the breath whilst we're in this full body stretch. Really feel that you're breathing into your whole body. Our chest is really open, so you're going to feel your belly and your chest rising and expanding with every inhale. See if you can feel the back of the body expanding as well. Really breathe into that lower back, mid back, upper back, all the way to the throat. And exhale, feel the whole length of the body just softening, fully supported by the ground. And when you're ready, release the hands and the arms first. Walk those feet back into centre. Roll onto one side and come up to a seated position. So we're going to do our mantra meditation and then we'll move into savasana. So very quick recap. We're doing our meditation of the month, which is Hum Sa. Hum Sa is an ancient mantra meditation where we repeat the mantra silently in our mind. With every inhale, we repeat Hum. With every exhale, Sa. So Hum Sa. Just silently in our mind, we concentrate on that. It's a really ancient mantra that literally translates as I am that, or I am here. So it's all about that meditation on mindfulness and being in the moment. If you want to take a really easy meditation today, you're very welcome to rest on the ground. It's traditionally practiced sitting with either yoga mudra hands or Buddhist hands, which is like we started, active hand resting and less active in the lap. Chin is tucked, eyes are closed, and we breathe in and out through the nose. If you are resting on the ground instead of sitting, just do something with your legs that's going to stop you from falling asleep. So soles of the feet to the mat. Last week we did 6 minutes. This week we're going to do 8 minutes. So begin, as we always do, by allowing the eyes to close. And we centre ourselves by checking in with our breathing. Noticing the inhalation and exhalation after our meditative yin practice. Now start to assign the sound hum when you inhale. In your mind, hear it. And when you exhale, sa. Allow yourself now to let go of the Hum Sa mantra. Let it evaporate from your mind, and with as little disturbance as possible, take yourself to a lying down position into your corpse pose. You can get cushions, blankets. You've got plenty of time, there's no rush. Just rest here. Download the practice. Download the meditation. Now that you've released the mantra, thoughts might drift into your mind. Just let them drift away without any judgment or frustration. And take this opportunity to rest.
Very gently now, bring your awareness back to your body, back to the room, back to your surroundings. Take gentle movement in your fingers and toes, maybe the face, the lips, the mouth, the head. In your own time, there's no hurry. Take a big, deep, full body stretch and a big, deep breath. Keep the eyes closed as you slowly roll over onto your right hand side into the recovery position. Support yourself with your hands or your arms and slowly make your way back up into a seated position. Tuck the chin, take the hands to heart center, blink the eyes open. Namaste everybody, thank you.